I think it sounds cliche, but self-care is so important. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of your business or anything else. And, after growing this business for 9 years of trial and error, there have definitely been periods where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to buckle down, focus on work, and I put self-care off to the side and it never pays off.
With the biohacking world, it really focuses on optimization. And I think that's really an amazing thing to be thinking about. And I think more of us should be thinking about ways to just optimize and feel better. And you will really discover, all of these technologies there. And these 3 technologies that we, stand behind do exactly that. They're going to optimize, they're going to help you feel better, and really focus on this idea of longevity, where you're going to feel better longer, which is super important to note.
This is the Gold Digger Podcast. So every once in a while, I get guests on my podcast where I can legitimately say I am your biggest fan, and I mean it with every fiber of my being. And I think my body is also the biggest fan of my guest today. So welcome to the show, Lauren and Katie. I'm so happy to have you.
Oh, Jenna, that means the world to us. So special. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes. Okay. Of course. Okay. So I started diving deep into the biohacking space about 2 years ago. And so much of my own health transformation I can attribute to this idea of biohacking. In fact, I was talking to my mom about it the other day, and I just feel like why biohacking was so interesting to me is that I had spent decades doing all the things that people had told me to be doing, right? And I had really believed that the only way to change things was to eat less and exercise more. And that was the only psychology I had around that wellness piece. And it was missing so much. And I will never forget hearing a podcast with you girls on it. I was sitting at this nail salon and I was searching for biohacking for women. And there was not a lot of content created out there, especially 2 years ago. And I found you guys, and while I was at the salon, I started ordering your products. And I think I've ordered every single product that you've ever created, but they've changed my life. So first, before we start talking about the products and the science behind them, how did you two get started, get connected, get into this world?
Oh, that's a great question. So my background, I'm a holistic nutritionist, health coach. I was a TV presenter, model, and product developer. And at my last wellness startup, my job was to pick the brains of the most influential wellness experts, doctors, naturopaths, trying to figure out what are all the key buzzwords in wellness in terms of products, anti-aging, weight loss, sleep, great skin, which is almost impossible to find in a product. But what the doctors and nutritionists and fitness people were telling me about was infrared saunas. And I was like, what's an infrared sauna? I've lived all around the world, all through Europe, Turkey. I'm Norwegian Canadian. I am obsessed with saunas, but have never heard of infrared before. Yeah. So I looked up the only one that existed in New York City, and this was over 10 years ago. There was only one that existed in a colonic center behind a curtain. Really dodgy experience, but I went and tried it and just was blown away by the immediate benefits. And as most of you know, in wellness, you don't get immediate benefits from anything. You have to take days, weeks, months to really, see a difference, let alone a huge difference. And the way I felt after doing the infrared sauna, living in New York City, was so apparent because I felt so calm and connected walking the streets afterwards. I remember thinking that I cleansed away all of my pain, stress, toxins, my skin was glowing. But what was the best part was I slept through the night for the first time in years because my nervous system was just so out of whack living in a toxic city with so much stress and light pollution and just go, go, go. So I just didn't understand why everyone in New York City wasn't doing the infrared sauna. So I knew I wanted to start my business around infrared. And, I knew I needed someone that had more of a business background than me, and that was Katie. So I was putting decks together once I started researching infrared and was learning about, all the studies and how efficacious all the benefits are and how gentle and safe it is. And I was just like, this has to happen. But I knew that I didn't have that, business sense that, Katie had. So I pitched her on infrared and told her to go and try that same infrared sauna. And she did and fell in love with it. And we started the business the next day. But I'll throw it to Katie because she has a very interesting background too and why she really loves biohacking.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad ChatGPT didn't exist back then. We could have
right?
just on ChatGPT. So yeah, my name's Katie Kaps. I started my career in investment banking, and then I kind of fell in love with wellness as a stress release, from the stress of working in finance. I got super into running, but over time, I found it was hard on my body. So I started looking for alternative practices that gave me that natural high. Found like colonics and acupuncture to be great. And then I met Lauren, and at the time, I'd left Tough Mudder. I wanted to start a company in the wellness space, and she introduced me to the infrared sauna. And, like she said, I was immediately addicted and on board to help her bring infrared to the masses.
It's amazing. So what was your first product, and what was it like from idea to like actually having a customer who didn't know you guys purchase one? What was that like? Because I can't imagine that it was easy.
So we first started with infrared spa locations, and that's where we really were able to build our community, which I think is really important. We started off with 1 locations and invited in some health and wellness influencers and friends, and they had the same experience that we had. They came and tried the sauna and were blown away by the immediate benefits. So they started, posting about it. They would book their session the very next day. They would tell their friends about it. We joked that we really didn't need to do any marketing for about 3 years, 0.
It's amazing.
And we were able to scale really quickly. At one point, we had 11 locations before the pandemic hit. So over those 3 to 4 years, we scaled very fast. And we had quite an interesting business model. It was more of a space within a space. So we didn't take on these big, leases and do these massive build outs. We rather just took rooms in existing spaces, put the sauna in, and that was a HigherDOSE location. So it was a really quick, smart way to get the business going without any real money or investment. We took small friends and family. I think it was less than 100K, right, Katie? Mm-hmm. And we had 2 locations, 2 thriving locations with just that. So that was really awesome to see. But our first product really came from, we kept getting asked to do these pop-ups where we couldn't lug around a 500-pound sauna. So we were like, what should we do? And we saw these rudimentary versions of the sauna blanket at places like Shape House. Do you remember Shape House in LA back in the day?
No.
It was quite a famous place.
I can imagine.
Where, you would go there and you'd all be packed into this one room like sardines. Yeah. In a sauna blanket on a massage table, and then they would put Netflix on for you, and you couldn't move, and you would just sit there and you would sweat out and detox. Wow. And it was awesome because you felt so good afterwards, right? Because you get all those amazing benefits of infrared. But the issue is that they were super high in EMF and ELF. The materials were toxic. They were these units from China, which probably ended up doing worse for you than good. You still got that sweat and detox, but, you're probably taking in more chemicals and EMF, which is quite harmful for the body. So we really took the opportunity with our advisors. We, had our own saunas with Clearlight, and Clearlight's been around for over 20 plus years. Anyone that knows infrared knows Clearlight makes the best saunas. They really helped us make this sauna blanket amazing and comparable to the sauna while having clean materials and virtually no EMF. So once we created that model, we would take them to pop-ups, and then everyone was obsessed with them because you feel such a difference afterwards. You feel like a brand new person. And Katie and I were like, okay, well, we should probably invest in small batches and then just start selling to our newsletter, our community of people that would come into the spa location and see if people bought it. And they did. And they bought it more than we expected. And we actually decided internally to stop opening locations and rather focus and double down on the sauna blankets before the pandemic hit.
I was just going to say, oh my gosh.
So the timing for us in everything that we've ever done with HigherDOSE, whether it be starting to introduce Infrared to the world, or switching from locations to CPG before the pandemic, has been so perfect for us. Because we were perfectly set up. So when the pandemic happened and we closed all 11 locations overnight, the sauna blanket 4x'd the very next day. And we already had a great relationship with our manufacturer. We already had a bunch in stock. And that was already going to be our business model moving forward.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we didn't have enough in stock, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we sold that a couple times.
Crazy.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Okay. Can you guys break down? So I'm sure somebody's listening now and they're like, okay, what is EMF? Like, what are some of these terms that we're talking about? So can you break down what is EMF and why we should be thinking about it?
Yep. So EMF is electromagnetic frequency, and it's a frequency that you get from all technology and devices. So your cell phone, your computer, Wi-Fi, and these frequencies are actually not good for the body. They actually are kind of like energy pollution for the body. And you feel that, some people actually are super Wi-Fi sensitive, where they will come into, a space that has a lot of Wi-Fi in a building or 5G towers, and they don't feel good. They feel like headachy and not well. Other people are not as sensitive, just like some people are more sensitive to certain foods. Some people can be more sensitive to EMF. So you might not even feel EMFs at all, but either way, it's creating free radicals within the body, which is not a good thing. So you want to make sure that you're minimizing your EMF exposure as much as possible. So for example, our sauna blankets that we got from Shape House, they went up to 60 milligauss, which is a lot of EMF. Our current sauna blankets now are less than 0.03 milligauss, which is virtually nothing. Virtually nothing. Whereas your Wi-Fi, when you have your computer or cell phone downloading something, that can also spike up to 60. And think about it, you have it next to your ear, you have it next to some of your vital organs, your reproductive organs. It's just not a good thing. And I always like to kind of compare it to that microwave. We all know that the microwave wasn't good for us. We're not supposed to stand real close to it because it was super high in milligauss, and it was ultimately microwaving you. And you have to be very careful because your cell phone and your computer can also do the same thing. So using headphones that don't have Bluetooth or EMF is really important because it's close to your head. Speaking on your cell phone, on speaker is another one. Never having your laptop directly on your lap is another one. There's just ways to, eliminate the amount of EMF exposure that you are going to get. It's inevitable, so try not to stress about it. Yeah. But try to be mindful when you are buying something for your health that it has virtually no EMF, because you just don't want to expose yourself to extra radiation, because we really do believe in detox of chemicals and harmful pollutants in the body, but also detox from EMFs and radiation and stress too as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's something to just, again, be mindful of. Even when we were looking at baby monitors and all the Bluetooth technologies with baby monitors and how close they can be. And I mean, there's just so many different things out there. And when you do think about it, sometimes I get really freaked out. The other day I was paying for something where you can just tap the card. And I don't know why that just is so wizardry to me. I don't like it. Where I'm it's just crazy how much is happening in the ether without us really consciously understanding it or really thinking about it often. Can you explain also infrared? So we have a traditional sauna at our house. I'm very Finnish. We say sauna. But can you explain the difference between infrared heat and just traditional sauna heat?
Yeah, I'll take that one too, and then I'll let Katie talk from there. Sorry, my favorite subject is infrared versus traditional.
I'll throw you a business question next, Katie. I got you.
I'm majority Norwegian too, so I'm right with you with the traditional saunas. We absolutely love traditional saunas. We love them just as much as infrared. But infrared is just different because it's a light therapy. Versus traditional saunas, which ultimately heat the air and then the body, whereas the light therapy through infrared, penetrates your skin and your muscles and heats you as an object, which sounds kind of scary microwavey, but it's actually more similar to the sun. And the sun does the exact same thing when you're outside on a fresh day and the sun's warming you up naturally. It's the same thing as how infrared warms you up. So the body actually responds much better to infrared than it does traditional heat. So when you're heating the body that way, it actually calms your nervous system down and downs cortisol levels and puts your body into parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest, which is healing, which is the same thing as that sun. The sun's hitting you. You feel so nice and relaxed. You maybe want to take a nap because it's downing all those cortisol levels for you. That's very different than traditional saunas, where traditional saunas can actually be releasing more heat stressors, heat shock proteins, which is also really good in its own way. But we're talking about the difference, I could go on about why I love traditional, but I'm going to tell you why I love infrared more. So I think it's really important in today's day and age when we're exposed to so much stress and we don't have that many tools to help us calm down and relax and put your body in parasympathetic. The infrared sauna is the best tool to do that. You could go in there feeling so stressed, so much anxiety, and you watch it all melted away. And Katie and I witnessed that 1,000 times as we were starting our business, and we were all stressed out and we were like ready to quit. We would go into the sauna together and we would end up leaving so euphoric and so high that we like couldn't help but keep going because we're like, this is amazing. And like we always joke because I would sell Katie on infrared over and over and over and over again because I was just in awe of it working every single time that we were in there. So we always laughed about that.
She still does it.
I still do it, and I can't help it because I'm just still, like, every single time I go in there, there's a different benefit that I feel, right? It depends on where you're at in your health journey and what kind of, things are in your life at the moment. But one of my favorite things about infrared, which is very different than traditional saunas, is the ability to detox. Yeah. So Katie and I really believe in this idea of daily detox, and it goes back to that idea is you can't control all the toxins that you get exposed to. You could be as healthy as you want, but it's still in the air, it's still in the water, it's still in your clothes, it's still in light pollution, it's still in EMF, and what can you do about that? You can't do that. You can not stress about it, but then you also just need to have these wellness tools in your back pocket and make it a part of your lifestyle. And when you're making it a part of your lifestyle, it becomes effortless, and this idea of detox just becomes ingrained in your, every day. And I think that's what's most important and how you can really thrive in today's day and age. So infrared detoxes you 7 times more by vibrating your water molecules, pulling heavy metals, radiation, and environmental pollutants out of your fat cells through sweating. It's a very oily sweat versus a traditional sweat. You even see black on your towels. And there was this study back in the day when 9/11 happened where there was all the firefighters and first responders from 9/11. They were exposed to so many chemicals and toxins and carcinogens, and then they put them in the infrared sauna and they were sweating out black and purple, and so much was coming out of them. Actually, Clearlight has a big thing around working with firefighters. My dad's a firefighter, so I feel very passionate about that because they should be going in the infrared sauna after every single fire. Yeah. Because it's just that beneficial for detoxification. So I think that's probably one of the biggest differentiators between traditional saunas. And then the light therapy, which is also our favorite, which is where we got our name from. So it is on the invisible light spectrum. Your eye does pick it up like it's out in the sun. So you're releasing serotonin, which is a happy chemical. Yep. It also speeds up your heart rate to the pace of a light jog. You are getting a passive workout while you're in the sauna. The body is working, so you're releasing those endorphins. We always believe that when you're in the sauna, naked with somebody, connecting, you release oxytocin too as well. You're like connecting, you're away from your devices too as well. And then just that dopamine hit of knowing you're doing something good for yourself. So DOSE stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and we're all about getting high naturally at HigherDOSE.
Oh, I love that. I have always remembered you saying that. And I just think about it all the time because I'm like, I think in a world that we're always on to like the next thing or trying to figure out like, how do I enjoy my life more? How am I happier? How do I feel better? All these different things. I just love the natural focus on that. Katie, what kind of tips would you give to entrepreneurs? So most of our listeners are female entrepreneurs. We're wearing many hats. We're doing many different things. We're trying to grow things. We're taking care of humans. Like, what are some of those wellness rituals that we could maybe add into our life that would help support that desire to continue to show up as high achievers? There are very few brands, founders, products that I swear by. And I can honestly just say that the HigherDOSE wellness tech has changed my life. I think it really helped me get started on this wellness journey that I've been on. And they've just been these supportive tools in my life that have become a part of my rituals, my routines, and my resets every single day. Like, I'm obsessed with them. I use them every single day. So if you want to check out HigherDOSE, you can head to jennakutcher.com/HigherDOSE. It's jennakutcher.com/HigherDOSE. And if you want to save on your wellness tech, use the code GOLDDIGGER. It's 15% off site-wide. There's a few exclusions included in that. But again, that is jennakutcher.com/HigherDOSE. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it sounds cliche, but self-care is so important. You know, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of your business or anything else. And, you know, after growing this business for 9 years of trial and error, there have definitely been periods where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to buckle down, focus on work, and I put self-care off to the side, and it never pays off.
Yep.
So now, you know, I put self-care first. That's why my hair's wet, because I made sure I did a sauna and work out in red light before anything else. And sometimes your hair doesn't look great, but that's okay.
It's all good.
So yeah, I mean, I think I'm at the point where, you know, I definitely focus on the basics like sleep, exercise, hydration. But also, I think if you can get like a great functional medicine practitioner to do your blood work and to prescribe you like a custom protocol with peptides, even exosomes, I think there's a lot of like amazing stuff out there that you can use to boost your performance. And then on top of that, I just try and outsource everything I can, like any kind of deliveries. I just use Uber Eats, use TaskRabbit, like try not to do any of the stuff that's going to suck up your time. We recently got a personal assistant who's amazing, and that's also helped. So just try and find shortcuts to make your life easier so that you have more time for self-care.
Oh, I love that. You know, it's so funny because I'm the same way. And my ritual these days, because for so long, I would watch these like Instagram reels of these women who would be like, here is my like hour-long morning routine. It was like so peaceful, right? Like the journaling, the sun's coming out, they're sipping their coffee, it's still hot. And I'm like, I am a mom to 2 small children. My morning looks like chaos. And it's so funny now because the minute that my husband leaves to bring my daughter to school, he takes both kids with him. That is when I go downstairs and I lay on my mat and I do red light and I meditate. And I was just like you, Katie, where I used to like the second they were out the door, I'd crack open the laptop, get to work, like be productive. And I just found so much of not necessarily having this like perfect routine, but having these moments of like reset in the day where it's like the morning was chaos, but like here's my reset, like come back home, calm it down. And the other thing I want to say that I loved what you talked about, Katie, is that so many entrepreneurs are walking around with so many numbers in their head of like, here's my lifetime value. Here's how many subscribers I have. Here's how many followers. We don't know our labs like that, like our blood work.
Yeah.
And I think that so many entrepreneurs focus so much on like the business numbers that like to me, lab work is like a game. Like when I have like a deficiency or something, I'm like, the biggest reward is seeing my lab work updated in a couple months and looking at that. And I think that was a huge shift for me because for so long, I think there's a part of us, maybe as women, or at least for myself, where I just believed like, I'm just in my like hustle phase. Like I'm just going to hustle it out. And I didn't realize how much my health was not supporting the really bigger goal. And now it's like with health and vitality first, my business is so much easier. Like the energy flows so much better. So can you guys explain, Lauren, this might be back to you again, but what is a PEMF mat? And like, why does it work? So let me tell you one quick story. So I bought a PEMF mat after listening to your podcast episode. I had actually been working with one of my friends who's a brilliant human biologist. He has one of the top podcasts, and he was swearing by PEMF. So I was looking, and I was so obsessed with the fact that it was a woman-founded company, and just like the mission behind you guys. And so I ordered one, and then I ended up ordering one for my mom because I fell in love with it. And my brother, who is a very logical engineer, was like, what is this stuff? And he came prepared to a family meeting about like, okay, you guys are going off the deep end. What is this? And he goes, I started researching it and it is fascinating. The science behind it is undeniable. And he had like come ready to be like, what are you guys doing? So what is a PEMF mat? Because people see me laying on mine all the time and ask me a million questions. And all I can say is that I feel amazing. My children love it. My dog loves it. Talk to me about it.
Yeah. I think it's important to mention that we didn't invent any of these technologies, too.
You've invented the better version of them.
Yeah. I just want to like note that, they've been around forever. We really love the biohacking community because they talk about all of these things.
Yes.
it's such a shame because the biohacking community is mainly male dominated and they have very different goals than us, which is like live forever, be faster, stronger, smarter, which is just not the goals of women, which is unfortunate. But if you do tap into that community, you are going to be exposed to incredible technology and tools and ingredients. And like Katie mentioned, peptides and exosomes that can optimize. And I really love that because I've been in health and wellness forever. And even still to this day, I feel like health and wellness is so confusing because it's so bio-individual that you can't really say one diet for everybody, one way of working out. But with the biohacking world, it really focuses on optimization. And I think that's really an amazing thing to be thinking about. And I think more of us should be thinking about ways to just optimize and feel better. And you will really discover, all of these technologies there. And these 3 technologies that we, stand behind do exactly that. They're going to optimize, they're going to help you feel better, and really focus on this idea of longevity where you're going to feel better longer, which is super important to note. So that being said, I explained Infared. We have our Infrared saunas. We have our infrared sauna blankets, which is virtually the sauna in a portable, easy to use, easy to clean. More affordable version. But we wanted to take, infrared and have all the benefits of recovery, but without the commitment of sweating, because the sauna blanket is quite intense with sweating. Some people use it every day, but, it's really hard to keep hydrated and whatnot. So we created our infrared PEMF mat. And we wanted to layer in another technology that really complemented the infrared and really lended to this idea of recovery. And PEMF is exactly that. PEMF is pulse electromagnetic frequency. It's a frequency that's very similar to the Earth's core frequency. So that idea of going outside and being barefoot and feeling that frequency through the body, which it's intuitive, it's innate. Your body picks it up and says, oh, I can relax. I can, to put all my stress levels down, and the inflammation just floods out of the body. And it's like that same idea of bathing in nature or going in nature, and that way that it makes the body feel. That's what the PEMF is doing through this pulse electromagnetic frequency. And this is the confusing part for people because it is an EMF, but it's a healthy EMF. And we have all these blogs on our website if you want to look into it more. But it's this frequency that's replicating nature versus this erratic Wi-Fi that is creating free radicals within the body. It actually does the opposite, is it combats the free radicals, and it actually charges your cells and puts your body into a state of relaxation and healing too. So again, you lay on the PEMF mat, and if you really need to fall asleep, you'll probably fall asleep because it's going to give you exactly what you need. If you needed your energy, your cells to charge, you might feel more charged afterwards. But always you're going to feel more calm, more grounded, and just more like yourself, which is such an important tool to have with all the stress that we got going on. It's great for everyone, kids, dogs. If you have an animal, forget about it. You will not get this animal off of it. So definitely buy our mat covers. And then I love mine. I sit with our Go mat in the computer chair here. It just makes every single podcast that much easier because I don't know about you guys, but when I speak on podcasts like this, I'm all nervous. And as soon as I get on the PEMF mat, I feel so calm and in my body and confident. It speaks for itself. All this technology speaks for itself, which I think is also something to note. I encourage everyone to read about it, educate. If you have an engineer as a brother, pick his brain. But all of this technology, you feel a difference. And your body never lies. Right?
It's amazing because when we bought our mat, we laid it on a bed in our house. It was our spare bedroom, and it became our biohacking room. And all of a sudden, our dog was always laying on the mat. We'd have to fight her to get onto it. And then our kid started laying on it a lot. And she just loved it and was so relaxed. And so it's just really beautiful. And people see me laying on it all the time. They're like, what does it do? And I'm like, you're going to have to ask the science people this one, but it feels amazing. And I also love too, because it does become kind of a ritual where it's I don't use devices on it. So a lot of times I'll meditate or, it kind of just is that calming, centering of that reset instead of having that perfect routine, which I love.
Exactly. Yep. You can use it in any sort of way. And it is really great for kids if they do have anxiety and I have 2 little ones too, and when they're all crazy, you know, put them on the PEMF mat and they are just so chill afterwards. It's so nice.
Chill out. Katie, what has been the biggest shift? So we've kind of talked about the pivot from all of these external locations to being more, you know, to directly to consumers. What has been the biggest pivot business-wise for you guys in the last couple years? You were prepared for the sauna blanket, but now you've been expanding, adding products to your product line. What does that look like from that standpoint?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've pivoted a lot in our history. We've gone from, you know, selling infrared heating systems to yoga studios. That was the first model, to locations, to direct to consumer product. Now we're omni-channel. So we've started to expand into retail, like Nordstrom, Sephora, Best Buy. And I think overall though, the biggest change has been shifting from locations to product. Yeah. Because it has such a different financing profile. I think that was a big learning, you know, all the inventory needs, being a product company, just kind of change how you have to think about your capital structure. So as we got into product, we started relying a lot more on working capital loans and became more aware of the cash conversion cycle. And now I feel like we've got a good handle on that, and we're just focusing more now on, you know, kind of our shift towards CPG products, which is a whole nother ballgame in terms of the marketing and focusing on repeat rate and stuff like that. So it's definitely always something. I'm sure in, you know, 12 months we'll have pivoted to something else.
Yeah. I mean, you're always learning, and I love that. You know, speaking of, I was at a spa recently and I got a facial, and on the facial table they had a red light mask, a HigherDOSE red light mask, and they were like, this is an add-on. It's an extra $20 for your service. And I was like, I actually have one of those in my suitcase. I travel with it. I bring it. Like, thank you so much for the upgrade, but I'll be declining. Let's talk about that final piece, at least for my routine, which is red light. So red light therapy is something that has totally changed my life. It's something that's become a daily routine. And your mask is something that I literally wear every night. So every night I lay down for bed and I wear it, and I have to turn my Kindle on super bright so I can keep reading while I'm wearing it. And my husband just laughs every night when he tries to kiss me goodnight. What is the science behind red light, and why have you created your mask? And now you also have your new product, which is like the chest expansion piece. So talk to me about those products.
Yeah, so red light therapy is something that has also been around for a very long time. And I would say that the beauty industry has, you know, adopted it a lot sooner than even the biohacking world has, mainly because it has such great skin enhancing benefits that you see immediately. Yeah. You know, your skin is glowing after every single use, and it's just cumulative, all the benefits. So it just gets more and more the more you use it. It feeds the mitochondria, which produce ATP, which means every cell is operating better. So it's like feeding your cells food. So that means that, you know, your skin that's why it's like glowing afterwards. It's just been like fed nutrients, you know, like it just got fed sun and water. And then, so what it does is it downs inflammation within the skin, which I think is really big when it comes to skin health, and you know, it increases blood flow and circulation as well. When you're increasing that blood flow and circulation, again, it's feeding the cells. It's the opposite of stagnation. I think it's another reason why facial massage works really well, and gua sha. You want to get the stagnation out and increase that blood flow and circulation, and just make sure that all the cells are getting fed on top of it. But one of the cool things about red light therapy, which most people don't know, and I think it's why the biohacking world has adopted it more, is because red light actually combats the exposure of blue light. And it does that because it's much similar to the sun. Again, all of our technology just replicates nature. So when you think about the sun in the morning, when the, you know, sun first rises, it has this like red and slight like yellow and amber tones to it. And it's actually a calming, regenerative light. And as the sun gets higher and more intense, it becomes blue, which is actually cortisol releasing. It's when you should go, your day's happening, you know, we're supposed to be energized by the sun. And then as the sun comes down, that red light and the infrared light starts to come back again, and it's telling your body, now it's time to relax, calm down cortisol levels, and start to release melatonin to go to sleep. Now, the issue is that we are exposed to so much blue light throughout the day through our cell phones, through our computers and TVs. So we're actually telling the body something opposite around like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, when it actually should be calming down and relaxing because of all the blue light exposure. So you using the red light face mask with the Kindle is combating all that blue light and is going to help you sleep deeper at night. And I don't know if you're using it at night because you notice that your sleep is better.
It's the only time I squeeze it in.
Okay. And sometimes it's the only time that you can squeeze it in.
Yeah.
But, red light before bed is going to increase your sleep by so much because it's telling that body to relax, calm down, release melatonin, which is one of your highest antioxidants.
Yep.
And we all know, and I think we can all agree that sleep is probably one of the most important biohacks, and there needs to be more education around just sleep and your glymphatic system. And, that's the time to detox and repair. I feel like any sort of tool that you can do to help have a deeper sleep is great. And infrared does exactly that, and red light does exactly that. And I think that's why the biohacking world loves it.
Yeah.
Because when you expose yourself to that, your circadian rhythm is going to be better, your mood's going to be better, your skin is better, your hormones are better, everything is better. And it's, again, feeding that mitochondria, which is producing ATP, which is energy, which means every cell is functioning better.
Yeah.
And then just to mention the neck enhancer, we really love this piece because we feel like, women also age on their neck and décolletage, and there's not many things that we talk about around, caring of that skin. So I think it's also important for that, but then also, your thyroid is right here too as well.
Yeah.
And red light for your thyroid is probably one of the best things for your hormones as well. So it's really a great add-on to your red light face mask. The more you can cover your body in red light, the better. I encourage anyone that's never tried red light before. It's probably one of my favorite wellness, hacks that I believe everyone should be doing.
Okay, so here's a funny thing. So since you guys don't have a massive red light yet, I lay on my mat and then I have a Juve light on its side, and I'll do my red light on my mat so that I can do everything in 20 minutes, which I know it's, efficiency.
That's a true biohacker.
It
is. You're
is.
stacking technology because you don't have time.
I know.
Like biohackers do.
I know. It's amazing. So for anyone listening, my 3 favorite HigherDOSE products are the sauna blanket, the red light mask, which I use every single day, and the PMF mat, which I use every single day. I don't use my sauna blanket as much now that we have an actual sauna in our house, but I have it. Yeah. And now I'm wanting to use it again more because we don't have an infrared sauna. So I'm like seeing the difference in technology in a new way. So what would you say though, if somebody's listening, because let's be honest, some women listening might need to start saving their pennies up to buy their products. What are some natural ways that we could get some of these benefits just in our everyday life of today? If somebody's listening today and they're like, okay, I'm on board with all of this, but what do I do if I can't afford it or I'm not ready to purchase yet?
Yeah, I think like Lauren touched on before, what we're doing with a lot of our technology is trying to replicate the healing power of nature.
Yeah.
So if you're, saving up for the HigherDOSE at-home wellness tech in the meantime, you can try and spend more time in nature and get the positive grounding benefits of going for a walk in the woods or a walk on the beach. Or just getting some morning sunshine. And another thing you could do if you're on the fence, like a lot of, spas at this point have infrared saunas or red light that you can go and try and just make sure that you like it and that you feel a difference. And then if you think it is great, you can purchase it from us. We do have payment plans, and it really ends up paying for itself because, at a lot of spas, an infrared sauna session might be like $70.
Yeah.
Whereas our blanket's $6.99, so it pays for itself in 10 uses.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and just to add to that too as well, we have this really cool show called Biohackers, which actually deep dives into all sorts of cool ways to biohack, and a lot of ancient wisdom is actually free biohacks. So check out the show through our website if you want to pick up on some cool ways to biohack for free.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So what is on the horizon? I feel like we've had a big year with HigherDOSE. I feel like new products, new expansions, new stuff. What are you guys excited about for the new year?
I don't know, this year. Getting through.
Yeah. It's been a big year.
It's crazy. We still have such a small, awesome team. And Katie and I are very much involved in the day-to-day, and We both love what we do, which makes it so nice. But yeah, we're just trying to get through this year. It's still a lot. We've had so many great things that have happened with Sephora launch and hopefully getting in store in Sephora and Best Buy and launching some new products too as well. But I think we're most excited for some of our new products that we're going to be launching. Again, we are obsessed with the red light space. We think everyone should be doing red light. So watch out for some of our new products. Jenna, I'm going to message you on the side and make sure you get some of the products before we launch them, because we'd love your opinion on them, because
I've been waiting. I'm here.
Yeah, it's in your wheelhouse. But I would say, look out for some of our products that we're going to be launching. It's really just a great addition to the family of this world of technology and tools that can really change your vitality from the inside out. And who doesn't want that? It's a great investment. We truly believe that the most important investment is the investment into yourself. And it really does speak for itself. And like Katie said, it pays for itself within a few sessions. And ultimately, this wellness tech lasts for a very long time. And you can share it and definitely gift it to people that maybe don't really think about ways to take care of themselves, or they don't even know where to start. It's such a gift, like you did with your mom, which I think is so special. So maybe I think there's no better gift for somebody.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, I feel like we have such an amazing community at this point of fans, people who love the product, and we're also thinking through new ways to engage our dose community.
Yeah.
So look out for, potentially retreats and also new kind of tech related products that help kind of connect higher dose people together.
I just have to commend you both, because I feel like my audience already knows what we're talking about, but now they're actually like understanding kind of the why behind it and also the women behind it, which I think is so powerful. And I have to say, like, your products have changed my life. Like, it is literally a non-negotiable. There are very few non-negotiable pieces of my life, and your products are like the root and the core of them. I was actually going through TSA the other day, and they had to open up my bag because I did something wrong. And they saw the mask, and someone goes, "Oh, Halloween costume," and I was like, "No, this is how I look like this." And so it's been amazing and transformative, not just for me, but also, like you said, for my mom. And she's on her own healing journey, and it's just so powerful. Every time I call her, she'll be like, "I'm on my mat again. I'm on my mat again." And so I just think I want to commend you for digging into it, and also just for representing women in this space. Like I said, there are so many biohacking resources and research studies done on men, and women just operate so differently. And one thing that we touched on a little bit is just the impacts of cortisol for women, especially driven women. I'll never forget when I was going through my fertility stuff, my doctor, who was an amazing doctor and very natural, had ordered a lab for me to see what my cortisol was, and it was out of this world. And so I've been on this mission of really balancing my nervous system, and I think so much power comes from that, and yet we don't speak about it enough because it's not the quote gains that look impressive, but they feel impressive. And I think women are working more towards lives that don't just look good, but lives that feel good. And you guys totally help with that. Where can everybody find out more about both of you as founders, about the products? Give me all the places.
HigherDOSE.com.
Yep, HigherDOSE.com, at HigherDOSE on Instagram. And then my Instagram handle is at Kaps.
And mine's at Lauren Berlingeri. Berlin like the city in Germany, and then Geri.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for what you do. I am a huge fan, and I can't wait to see what's next.
We're such a huge fan of yours too, and the community that you built as well. And we're just so happy that we could be on this podcast and speaking to you, and that you use some of our wellness tech to do what you do in the world just means everything to us. So